What's up, guys? I'm SaltEMike, and this is your Star Citizen Week in Review for November 18th, 2019. And it's CitizenCon week, so there's lots of excitement around that, and you would expect there to not be much news this week. Well, you're wrong. This is the busiest week in review I've ever had to do. We have a patch, we have a monthly report for Squadron 42, we have a huge roadmap revamp, we have stuff to talk about with Inside Star Citizen, we have stuff to talk about with Star Citizen Live, and there's even some subscriber flair to talk about as well, and then just general sitcom stuff. So it's a huge week. So starting out with the patch notes, we had a 3.7.2 on the PTU, which essentially just brings in the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, which should go live after CitizenCon, I think on Monday, maybe on Sunday. But it also does a few things. First, your spawn will be at Area 18 instead of Port Olisar now, kind of feeding into the theories that Port Olisar might not be around after CitizenCon, as well as some notable bug fixes. I'll just name two, where they fixed an issue with stash houses not really accepting your mission boxes, and this kind of goes along with my Let's Play, and I think now I could probably take part in it once 3.7.2 goes live. They also fixed an issue where voice over IP mics were not working, and I was running into this problem as well, where my friends had their voice over IP working, but I didn't, and I didn't know why, and it seems to be working just fine now. Another thing of note, it doesn't appear that there is a wipe in this patch as well. Now, moving on to the Squadron 42 monthly report, we're probably going to run through these things relatively quickly to actually fit everything in to a reasonable amount of time in the show. Big takeaways from this, so really take your time to read this. I say this with most things that I do, is I just take the big takeaways for me out and what I think would be great for a discussion on the show, but you really should look at these things yourself. Everything will be in the links in the description. Under the environment art section, the new asteroid set reached phase 2. Not sure of how many phases that is, but this could mean the asteroid tech related to version 2 set that should be in 3.9. Now, we will discuss that later. This Squadron 42 thing came out before roadmap update, so there's a little bit more information that in the roadmap update. Engineering, the UK team is improving helmet interactions, which includes putting them on, taking them off, and placing them somewhere. So helmet flip when. And then temperature status system has evolved, which allows clothing to have insulating properties, and they've added hypothermia and concussion status. So this definitely has to do with the fact that we're going to be on the icy planet of Microtech soon, and we might need to wear certain clothing to spend our time there, as well as the melee system requiring concussion status to be part of it. And then user interface, which is a big one. They're finalizing the new visual style for our helmet visor HUD, which we've seen some kind of sneak peeks of that, and added a new style for the Moby glass. I feel like this is the first time I've heard this, period, and it's just like randomly in the Squadron 42 roadmap. So when those concepts are done, we will see their functional versions in game, and they should be able to come in game a lot quicker because they should be involving the new building block system. Now, moving on to roadmap updates. This was a big roadmap roundup. If you look at the Reddit kind of progress report, it says that we've gained 15% on 3.8, but it's also been kind of gutted. So we're gonna kind of talk to you guys here about that. So roadmap roundup, a lot's changed, and this is due to the quality of life initiative with 3.8. So they've kind of teasing this for the last few weeks, and they're really hitting us with the effect of their quality of life initiative here. So some things have been added and some things have been pushed out. So prison missions, their card has been added to 3.9, and it is missions within game prisons. So I assume this means breaking out of prison. I don't think that necessarily means bringing someone to prison. I think the only missions, well, it does say missions, so, but I kind of get the feel that it's a breakout kind of thing instead of bring someone to the mission, or the prison, excuse me. And then they put Klesher Automated Prison, which is also coming in at 3.9, and this is the automated corrections facility that these missions will take place in. and then as well as a prison uniform, which I wonder if we'll have to like ditch when we escape. They've kind of teased escaping from prisons for a while, for years now, so I imagine that would be some of the gameplay that would be involved. But if you have to ditch your prison uniform, then you would need to be able to acquire another one, and that would maybe require inventories, and I don't really see that on the roadmap, so who knows. Then we have the Rescue Hijacked 890 Jump mission. That's added to 3.8, which we saw on an Inside Star Citizen recently, and that's just the card being added to the roadmap, and you can check out the progress of it there. The Law System version 2 fines have been added to 3.8 as well, and this allows us to pay our fines when we want, instead of them being like automatic, which was kind of weird, right? Then I call this the Content Creator Update. This is added to 3.8 as well. It's the Vehicle Look Ahead Cam, which is the Tirada update, I would say, and then the Vehicle Third Person Cam, which is more of the, maybe like the Morphologist update. So I think the team's looking at content creators and going, look at all these cool things that they're making, let's give them more tools so they can make that stuff. And they seem like impactful updates because they're basically free marketing for Star Citizen, which is great, right? You get Tirada going on Reddit and a Morphologist having this like wider reach than just the Star Citizen community with his videos. So giving them access to more tools is a great thing, right? But there's going to be more on this in a minute because it's not all rainbows and butterflies, in my opinion, with these updates. Mining heads coming in to 3.8. This is all rainbows and butterflies for me. 5 new mining lasers coming to the game. Some will have more power, which will create higher instability. Some will create more stability, but will be slower to transfer the power into the rock. So it'll just take longer to break, but it will be a lot easier to break. Then there will be some that reduce the resistance of the rock, likely resulting in rocks with much higher resistances that we see today in like 3.7, forcing co-op gameplay. So someone bringing this kind of laser to the group will create the ability to break some really difficult rocks to break, which would be awesome. And then there might be one that's like really, really good, but it's incredibly expensive. So that's 4 types that they listed, and maybe there's like a secret one, or there's like an in-between one of the ones that they listed there. Then Planetech version 4 has been added to 3.8. These are just kind of like general planet improvements to scattering, but they also mentioned in monthly reports in previous months that it might also have to do with like what the planet looks like from a distance, like actually being able to see biomes from a distance and things like that. Now moving on to the not so positive things, Microtech moons have been moved out of 3.8. So last week we found out that we were only going to get the exterior of Microtech. Now we're not even getting its moons. But the reason for it seems pretty valid to me. It's because the same team is working on that version 4 of the planetary tech, and getting that right is likely a Squadron 42, requirement. So getting that to its highest level of where they want it is definitely a priority over getting some moons into 3.8, right? So it makes sense, but what I just hope to see them do is that whatever surface bunkers and outposts that we have on Microtech, that there's some real economy gameplay there. So instead of having to go to a moon and move things around, maybe like some cargo and mining capable outposts that are worth kind of doing economy gameplay around Microtech. Otherwise, it's kind of going to be a planet where we go and check it out and then never go back, right? Then death animation improvements moved from 3.8 to 3.9. It just didn't make the cut for 3.8. It just wasn't ready to go. NPC healing moved from 3.9 to 4.0 to work on more important things in their opinion, and I agree with them, like personal inner thought and the interaction systems. It makes way more sense to get that right, and I think most would agree that the personal inner thought and just interaction mode isn't super polished yet, so getting that a little bit more polished is great. Player status version 2 is gone. That's off the roadmap completely until they figure out where they want to put it. It's getting pushed back because they felt that tier 2 of EVA is more important, likely another Squadron 42 priority, right? But I think most would agree that, and let me know in the comments below, that EVA doesn't really feel right. It's not like when I'm in EVA, the fact that like when you let go of W, you kind of just slow down and you don't carry your momentum on. There's something like weird about it, right? It just doesn't feel right to me. So them working on that over something like more survival mechanics, which is likely what what Player Status version 2 was, is I think a good thing. Then this is where I get into SaltEMike mode, I guess. Cockpit experience is off the roadmap completely, and we have no idea when it's coming back in. Now, your cockpit experience is relatively good right now. There's nothing majorly wrong with it other than like your MFDs, which they're kind of working on with the annunciator system, right? So they decided that the teams working on the camera improvements it's more important for them to work on something like look-ahead mode and a third-person camera. A third-person camera in a first-person game. And that, they said in the actual roadmap roundup, that it would be more impactful. It's a first-person game. How is a third-person camera more impactful? And I think that goes into that situation where it's free advertising, right? Where if you're able to keep showing these incredible visuals, which is what Star Citizen excels at right now. They're not excelling at gameplay at all right now, and they excel greatly at their visuals. So giving more tools to make those visuals more out there, it's free advertising for Star Citizen. It makes sense, but I don't think it makes sense for the game long term. I always feel that if you focus on the gameplay of the game, then the game will sell itself, and you don't have to do these pretty machinima type videos to sell it, right? But more on that later, which kind of proves that this is sort of okay. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. NPC shopkeeper and bartender off the roadmap now. Removed after all of this bartender talk in monthly reports, inside Star Citizen, roadmap roundup, like the constant bartender, like we did all this work on a bartender, we can mix drinks. Now we can't. So I'm sure Astropub is really upset, but I'm sorry, buddy. No bartender, and we don't know when we're getting it. And then FPS combat weapon types. I think this was NPCs using different types of weapons for different situations. This was pulled for more Squadron 42 work. Totally understandable. Moving on to video updates. Inside Star Citizen was pretty interesting. They showed us the Asperia Prowler, which should be coming into 3.8 as well. And similarly to the Xi'an, the cockpit feels entirely alien. And how they're achieving this is with a brand new kind of flight input.
We really kind of want to give the cockpits a very different feel, especially for the alien spaceships. So we want all of the ship movements to be controlled by a single input. This system here can essentially move in every single direction and rotation. So when it's all set up, the player will be able to sort of rotate the joystick to the right or to the left, and the entire stack will rotate. So you'll actually see a cascading set of animations all the way to the front of the dashboard, giving you a bit of an offset. So it'll be really freaky and totally different than any of the cockpit we have. So I think that's going to be really exciting.
And this is really cool. It's certainly one of the best ways to make something look alien, and because it's a ship that supports humans, so it has to be able to fit us and fit our kind of arms and legs and things like that. But this idea of the way the ship is, like, has a flight input is completely different. It makes it feel truly alien. It's very similar to the Xi'an Scout, right? With the kind of, this is the way that you interact with the ship. So it's cool. Then they kind of asked, well, how much work is left to do? And Elwin went into that, which, keep in mind, this ship is due in 3.8.
So this is the rest of the interior, in terms of the interior geometry, that still has to be built. So that includes mounting all of these jump seats to the ceiling, building out and designing the interior, making sure that the rear hatch is working properly and seals properly with the exterior. And then we've got all 8 of these sort of jump doors that also have to be set up properly and sealed with the exterior. So quite a bit more work that still has to get done on this thing before it is ready for flight, but I think it's looking pretty cool. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
And newsflash, this is a lot of work to do, and you can argue this was maybe recorded quite a while ago, but the roadmap really isn't showing a lot of progress either. So maybe if you're like really waiting for your Prowler, I might not be surprised if something like the Asperia Prowler rolls over to 3.9 because it needs a little bit more work. Remember with the Bandu Defender, this is the first Tavaran ship that they're showing, so they're really going to want to nail down that style, and if they take more time with it, they take more time with it. I mean, when we look at the Bandu Defender, the amount of time they took really, really changed things and made the Bandu Defender just incredibly beautiful on the inside and feels alien, feels different. So I hope they get this one right, take their time, and if it's not ready for 3.8, it's not ready. Then they went into a tools update, which is kind of one of these pre-CitizenCon kind of things, which unless you're into tools that make video games, there's not much to discuss on this type of video for me, so feel free to check that out. Again, link in the description for the video will be there. Then for Star Citizen Live, this was a Star Citizen Live with a designer, so there's going to be a lot of things to discuss here. Just for the sake of the length of the video, I took out my 3 most important things, but there are a ton of stuff that may pertain to you. If you have a free hour, this is what you should watch this week, so make sure you check that out. Again, link in the description. So the first, right off the bat, thing that they discussed is what are the plans for missions in terms of they make us travel a lot right now, and with quantum travel, it's kind of exhausting to have to go from Crusader to ArcCorp to Hurston, because there's not a lot of missions that are kind of centrally focused anywhere. It's more of a star system mission rather than a planetary mission. And Luke kind of explains what their plan is for the future of this.
The philosophy going forward is that we try and make enough content to fill a planetary system to keep you there for a good long while. I take like Crusader, right? It's the first planetary system we built, and I'm sure everyone will be able to see that it's a lot more dense with content than the other planets. We want to get the other planets up to the kind of same parity with Crusader, and beyond, obviously. Yeah,
and that all makes perfect sense. The idea, and I've really come around to that idea as well, because when I've done things like hand mining around Ariel or other moons, maybe around ArcCorp, the idea of just hanging out there for a while and making money there and doing other little side missions while I was doing those things makes you not really feel that you need to quantum travel to another planet. And if they keep building on that, then I don't think quantum travel is as much of a burden as it feels like it is right now. And yeah, that's really cool. And then they go into, because this was another thing that they kind of mentioned with this that I didn't put in the video, is that they currently can't give mission rewards based on how much distance you have to travel. So there's some issues here, and I want to discuss this a little bit. They go into how these missions are developed. Basically, there's a mission team, and then there's the economy team. So have a listen.
There's the mission feature team, which designs missions and the content of missions, and whatnot. And then there's the economy team, or the folks who are building the economy of the standard system, and then of course of the Star Citizen Precision universe as a whole. And while what faces the player seems like one cohesive thing, and that's the intention, it's actually, like many aspects of Star Citizen, there are multiple teams working on any given aspect. Okay. When we showcased the 890 hijack mission gameplay on ISD a couple weeks ago, there were a lot of comments about the mission rewards up there, but those were fill-in numbers. Those were literally just we got to put a number in. An entire different team factors in the rewards later on down the thing. You don't need to know the reward when you're designing the mission.
Yeah, exactly. Like that, so. We start out with like a kind of difficulty. We're aiming for it to be this difficult, and therefore maybe shared between this many players, and then we'll give the economy team that kind of information. But they have a very, very difficult job to do, because we throw in so many of these missions, and we give them this vague kind of, we think it's this hard, but really it only comes to feedback from the backers playing it.
I personally find this a little bit weird that these teams aren't really kind of together. I think it would make a lot of sense. The missions are a major part of everything, especially when the kind of economy-based missions should be coming in sometime next year, which is like the Tony Z thing, and I'm sure we're going to hear a lot about that at CitizenCon. I'm looking forward to it. They seem like, the way they explain it here is that they're almost like working entirely independent of each other, and I don't know, I find that to be a little bit weird. What do you guys think? I'm sure this is totally normal for game development, and I'm just kind of ignorant to the situation. Then server-side OCS is a huge factor in basically all the issues that and my impatience with Star Citizen is not just server-side OCS, but also server meshing and a lot of the tech that's come online. And it's taken me a while, but I've kind of really have realized it over the last maybe 6 months, that I have to remain patient until these two things come online. And whenever they do, then your expectations are that the mission team, the economy team, any feature content team can build in the universe. And Luke really goes on to explain what his issues are currently and why we're not seeing that much progress as far as missions go.
SOX is a wonderful thing that will solve many issues, but it will also create many issues. And it's like
it really has as well.
Yeah.
Like we are having to redesign and maybe even say this mission in the state it's in cannot be done now. We have to change it quite considerably. So we are kind of going back to the drawing board sometimes on missions because of the way that SOX works. These things stream out. Right now we have a universe that is always streamed in, and that's why we've been unable to add the content we wanted, because it just it runs out of memory. But now these things disappear, we can't send you to them because they're gone.
Yeah, so just the idea that something is there now, and for them it's not going to be, they have to really completely redo how all of this is going to work. And it's totally understandable that they don't want to do work now that they're just going to have to redo later. So they kind of did that with the original object container streaming. They had to do they took a lot of missions out and had to rework a lot of missions just to get that working. And now they have to do it again with server-side OCS. So I see the idea of doing very simple, and during this episode, Luke talked about low-hanging fruit type missions and doing a lot of those until we're where we need to be as far as this tech goes. And I know there's been these little kind of carrots that have been held in front of our face for a really long time, but something like server-side OCS and server meshing has always been part of the discussion. And when you read the jump point about server-side OCS and just in general their kind of tech achievements that they're working towards, it's always been the plan. It's always been something they've been working towards, and they have a lot more to work on before they're done. And it's just very complicated to get a game like this built, and it's going to take a while. So yeah. And then finally we have a miscellaneous update, basically, which is there's some new subscriber flare items. And I don't know how you guys feel. I wear glasses. This feels really I think it's called Uncanny Valley to me. It just doesn't feel immersive. It makes everything feel weird. I know these are future glasses, so things are going to look different and weird, but kind of want to get your opinions on them. I don't know. For me personally, I want to try and create my own character in the game, and there were some glasses that kind of fit what I had. And so for you glasses wearers out there, what did that make you think and feel? And I personally don't like them that much, but what I do like is it's a totally new thing that they worked on. We're not getting some other variant of the same armor that we've been getting over and over again, a little bit at a time. I think they've really listened and heard what we've talked about. So yeah, just because I'm not really feeling these doesn't mean that I think they're on the right track with their subscriber rewards. So good job on them. And I think that'll do it for this week. I'm sure I missed stuff, so let me know if I did in the comments below. Like the video if you liked it, and let me know what you guys, I guess, are looking forward to in CitizenCon in the comments as well. And speaking of CitizenCon, we are going to be doing a live show. We are going to watch CitizenCon live on Twitch with you guys as the community, and we're going to be doing it and answer the call while we do it. So basically, while the panels are online, we'll be watching them relatively quietly, maybe, you know, little comments here and there, but we're going to be providing you a really comfortable and safe chat to hang out in, to share your opinions, whether positive or negative, about the game, and whatever you're seeing about the panels, what people are saying, all that, without the kind of riffraff that you're going to get with the official live stream, right? So if you are considering that, I'm going to be putting up a video that's probably going to come out on Thursday, giving you all the details, what times I'm going to be there, and what the plans are. But basically, it's going to be an answer the call. So we'll watch some panels. You guys can call in and let me know, like, what your expectations for CitizenCon are. Oh, we watched this panel and I thought this, that, and the other thing. People are going to be calling in from CitizenCon, like Board Gamer said he would, Morphologist said he would, ASN, who's a regular on Answer the Call, said he would as well. But, you know, those guys are probably going to be pretty busy having fun, so we're hoping to get those. But we're going to have 2 other hosts with me. We're going to have Noobifier and Crucian Gaming with us to kind of keep the flow of the show going and keep me going as well. So I'll be giving you guys the times and all that in the Thursday video, but I'm looking forward to seeing you there. And yeah, that's it for this video, guys. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week.